Kim Bok-ju is a calm young girl who loves weightlifting. When people ask her why she became a weightlifter, she remembers how her father took her to a weightlifting stadium when she was 10 years old. She liked the smell of the metal barbells and decided to become a weightlifter. Now, at 21 years old, she studies at Hanyul Sport University and is about to lift 115 kilos in a big competition. Her uncle watches the event on TV from her father's fried chicken restaurant. Bok-ju steps on the stage and everyone is quiet. She lifts the heavy barbell to her chest, then pushes it over her head. She drops the barbell and shouts with joy. Her coaches and family cheer loudly. Bok-ju wins a gold medal and smiles happily as she takes pictures. At the same time, at the Olympic swimming stadium in Seoul, Young Jun-hyung, a swimming star from the same university, is swimming in a big race. Back at school, Bok-ju runs with her friends and enjoys watching the boys training. Her coach gives her extra workouts to get stronger. After training, the coaches talk, but one gets annoyed and tells everyone to turn off the lights. Bok-ju and her friends Nan-hee and Seon-ok talk about lunch, but learn they must carry chairs to an assembly because they are the strongest students. Jun-hyung waits between races, playing a video game, but gets serious when he hears about his next race against his rival Tae-hoon. During the final race, Jun-hyung's ears ring, and he dives early, getting disqualified. After the race, Tae-hoon asks Jun-hyung to be his training partner. Jun-hyung pretends to agree, but sets many rules so Tae-hoon will refuse. Meanwhile, the weightlifting girls carry chairs to the auditorium and meet the rhythmic gymnasts practicing there. Bok-ju asks the gymnasts to move, but they tease her. Subin, the gymnast leader, throws a ball at Bok-ju's head and later trips her into a pile of chairs. This starts a rivalry between the two groups. Bok-ju's friends try to cheer her up with a funny dance and snacks, but then Jun-hyung almost crashes into her on his bike. They fall, and Jun-hyung thinks a broken sausage is her finger, and Jun-hyung thinks he knows her from before. Nan-hee tells him Bok-ju is famous for weightlifting. Jun-hyung leaves but drops a lace handkerchief, which Bok-ju finds. She wonders if he is strange but keeps it. The next day, Subin accuses the weightlifters of stealing her laundry, but Bok-ju says there is no proof. The gymnasts got the weightlifters' practice room after winning a big competition, and the boys liked the gymnasts more. One weightlifter's boyfriend even left her for a gymnast, making things worse. Bok-ju's dad brings fried chicken to the school, and the coaches warn the students to eat less meat. Bok-ju's dad goes to the hospital for treatment, and Bok-ju promises to visit. Subin's helpers lose some laundry, and someone steals a pair of red panties from the gym's closet. Jun-hyung loses his handkerchief and is scolded by his senior for leaving a swim meet early. His roommate tries to cheer him up, and they sneak out to a club, but Jun-hyung doesn't enjoy it and goes home early. That night, Bok-ju and her friends sneak around the dorm to catch the person stealing laundry. They find someone with the red panties and chase them, waking the whole dorm. Bok-ju thinks she caught the thief, but it is Jun-hyung in disguise. The teachers believe Jun-hyung is a good boy and let him go, but Bok-ju is sure he is the thief because he has a girl's handkerchief. She says she will return it only if he gives back her missing shirt. Jun-hyung refuses. The next day, Jun-hyung's senior makes him do hard exercises as punishment. Jun-hyung tries to get water but has no money, so he takes coins from a wishing fountain. Bok-ju sees him and calls him a thief again. Jun-hyung follows her, asking for his handkerchief, but she demands her shirt first. At a rhythmic gymnastics competition, Song Shi-ho, a gymnast who used to be close to Jun-hyung, competes but does well. The weightlifters finish carrying chairs again and complain. Nan-hee and Seon-ok wonder if Jun-hyung is really a thief because he is so handsome. Suddenly, a teacher is caught wearing red women's panties and tries to scare the girls. The boys catch him, and the gymnasts feel sorry for the weightlifters because they were wrongly accused. Shi-ho arrives at school and becomes Bok-ju's new roommate. Bok-ju is not happy to have a gymnast as a roommate but tries to be polite. Jun-hyung hears that the real thief was caught and looks worried when he learns Shi-ho is back. Bok-ju washes Jun-hyung's handkerchief and tries to give it back. Jun-hyung yells at her for washing it and pulls it away, making Bok-ju fall into the pool. He saves her, and they both remember a childhood moment when Bok-ju caught Jun-hyung as he fell from a rooftop. They smile at each other, feeling close again. In 2005, it was field day at Bok-ju's elementary school. Jun-hyung went to the same school and was on a relay team. When it was his turn, Jun-hyung dropped the baton and ran the wrong way. The boys were upset and made him clean the classroom windows as punishment. Little Bok-ju was with her friend, betting she could eat a whole piece of bread in one bite. She stuffed the bread in her mouth just as Junhyung fell out of the window and landed on top of her. Bokju caught him, and they both fell to the ground laughing. She spit the bread at his face, and they giggled together. Now, in college, Junhyung had just saved Bokju from drowning in the pool. They looked at each other quietly before Junhyung teased her, calling her by her old nickname, Chubs. Bokju remembered him too, but was not very happy about it. Bokju's friends were very excited that she knew the handsome swimmer from when they were kids. Bokju, however, was worried and said she had a bad feeling about him. Soon, Junhyung called out, "Hey, Chubs!" across the schoolyard. Bokju tried to hide, but bumped into him. He laughed and said her shoulders were wide, then walked away with a big smile. At lunch, Bokju ate while the gymnasts watched in shock. Junhyung teased her again, giving her his yogurt drink and making her run backwards until she gave him a high five. Later, Bokju made a wish at a fountain, and Junhyung came by. She called him over and headbutted him playfully when he leaned in. He called her Chubs again as she left. Her friends told her he was just teasing, and that she had started it by calling him a pervert. At Bokju's dad's fried chicken restaurant, it was busy. Bokju wanted to help, but her dad told her to go back to school. She asked to be paid, but dad said he paid her with chicken. A handsome man named Jong-seok came in and smiled at Bokju. Uncle Daeho grumbled that Jong-seok didn't buy any chicken, but Bokju told him Jong-seok was a famous shooter from their university. Jong-seok recognized Daeho from a TV drama and was excited to meet a real celebrity. Bokju found a vanity table at home and teased her dad about it, but he said he bought it online because she wanted a big mirror. Junhyung and his friends went out to eat, and Junhyung was surprised to see Bokju working at the chicken place. He noticed she looked tired and didn't tease her. He said he would taste the chicken before paying, trying to be kind. Bokju said it was her treat because she owed him a favor. Later, Junhyung found Bokju talking to her dad and felt bad when her dad sent her back to school with money she lied about. The weightlifting team had to ride a tiny bus to the training center and complained loudly. Coach Yoon got off and found a bigger bus but had to cut their food budget by 30% to pay for it. Coach Choi was upset, but Coach Yoon said eating less would motivate the team. Junhyung and his friends came to Bokju's dad's chicken place, and Junhyung smiled at the pictures of Bokju's wins. He paid extra money, saying he owed Bokju's dad. After training, the weightlifters reminded the coaches about dinner, but they only got small hamburgers instead of barbecue. Coach Choi gave her burger to a big boy who ate it in one bite. Coach Yoon lost his temper and promised barbecue. Junhyung met his ex-girlfriend Shiho, who said she missed him. They agreed to be polite on campus. At dinner, Bokju taught her younger teammates the right way to eat barbecue so they wouldn't get too full too fast. Junhyung begged his parents for food and looked at postcards signed, "From Mom." He went swimming with his cousin Jae-yi, who teased him about going easy during practice. Junhyung said he felt restless and nervous about races. Jae-yi asked if he missed his mother, and Junhyung's eyes grew sad. Jae-yi's parents were like family to Junhyung. Coach Choi found Coach Yoon sleeping and fussed at him for spending his own money on barbecue. The team made a plan to eat simple snacks every 3 days and bring their own food. Coach Yoon was moved, but Coach Choi scolded the team for having a secret meeting. Bokju found her roommate Shiho asleep and quietly thought about her meeting with Jae-yi. Junhyung met a new counselor and started therapy, filling out forms and feeling burdened. One day, Uncle Daeho tricked Bokju into coming home by calling her, but it was to show her a new vanity table they bought. Bokju was angry for a moment, but then liked it. On her way back to school, Bokju saw Jae-yi jogging and followed him to his office, learning he was a doctor. She felt shy and thought he was too good for her, but then she went back to his office, made an appointment, and asked him if he liked soccer star Messi, trying to start a conversation. Kim Bokju took a deep breath and made an appointment with the handsome Dr. Jae-yi. When she arrived, he recognized her right away from the rainy day they met. Suddenly, without any warning, Bokju asked, "Do you like Messi?" She had learned from her friend Nan Hee that boys like girls who like sports, and talking about soccer might be a good way to start a conversation. But Jae-yi looked confused, and Bokju got nervous and stammered. Things became very awkward. Still, Jae-yi was kind and talked about the soccer player for a little while, even if he didn't understand why. Bokju's crush on him grew stronger. He talked about helping her lose weight, but after the visit, Bokju saw that his program cost almost $500. She imagined his picture on a flyer asking her to sign up, and she felt sad. She went to the ATM but didn't have enough money. She thought about how to earn money and decided to ask her dad for new shoes for weightlifting. Excited, she ran home and passed Jun-hyung, who watched her with a big smile. When Bokju got home, her father was fixing the delivery scooter again. Uncle Daeho said they should just buy a new one. Bokju felt bad and decided not to ask her dad for money now. Gymnast Shiho was having a hard time practicing. She felt jealous when she heard her teammate Subin being praised by their coach. The coach asked Shiho why she was not getting better and suggested she go to Russia for extra training during school vacation. Bokju's friends Seonok and Nan-hee went to the student lounge but saw Subin and her friend there. The four of them raced to grab the TV remote. Just when Subin was about to get it, Nan-hee threw her slipper and knocked the remote off the table. Seonok caught it perfectly. Bokju came in looking sad and asked if her friends had any money. They didn't, and Bokju went away feeling down. Shiho went home but stopped when she heard her parents arguing about how expensive gymnastics was. Her mother wanted to keep supporting her, but her father worried they would have no money left. Shiho left without going inside. Bokju started seeing Jae-yi everywhere lifting weights, holding an umbrella, and waving in the practice room. She tried to stop thinking about him, but squeezed Nan-hee too hard while stretching, making her scream. Her friends said Bokju was acting strange and thought she was trying to avoid the school's mountain climbing race. Bokju went outside for fresh air and jumped when she saw Jae-yi standing there with an umbrella. She knew he was only in her mind. He cheerfully asked why she hadn't signed up for his program. She told him she was broke, but he smiled and asked again. Bokju thought she was losing her mind and ran away, making everyone on campus think she was crazy. Jun-hyung got a text from Shiho, who was drinking alone and quite drunk. She said she was glad he came out for an ex-girlfriend. They talked about being born rich. When he started to leave, Shiho grabbed his hand and said it was still warm. Jun-hyung pulled away and walked off. The girls did not want to do the mountain climbing race the next day. They talked about ways to get out of it, but none worked unless they got hurt badly. So, they accepted they had to do it. Bokju got excited when she heard the prize money was enough to pay for Jae-yi's program. On the bus the next morning, the girls sang and cheered to get ready. At the mountain, Bokju pushed past other teams and left her friends behind. Jun-hyung tried to pretend his ankle hurt to skip the race, but his senior Ki-seok kicked his other ankle and told him to keep going. Ki-seok threatened to punish the whole swimming team if Jun-hyung didn't finish. Jun-hyung slowly climbed the mountain until he saw Bokju far ahead. He suddenly had energy and ran to tease her. Bokju tried to ignore him, but he stayed close, cheering her on. He pushed her, and she fell. Jun-hyung quickly said sorry many times. She gave him a mean look, and he tried to help or carry her, but she pushed him away. He pretended his knee hurt and cried to make her stop, but she kept going. Bokju reached the top, but she was not first. Jun-hyung wanted to ice her ankle, but she told him to go away. She said they were not friends and told him to stop following her. She limped away, and Jun-hyung looked hurt. That night, Nan-hee and Seonok took Bokju out to eat and drink to cheer her up. Bokju saw Jae-yi's picture on the table and tried to forget about him. Nan-hee drank too much and hit the guy behind her with her pigtails. Bokju tried to say sorry, but the guy and his friends started a fight. Bokju got mad and kicked a bench at him. Jun-hyung and his friend Taekwon came in and saw the fight. At first, Jun-hyung looked like he might help, but he was still upset with Bokju and went upstairs. The guy pushed Bokju and dared her to hit him. He said she didn't look like a woman. That made Bokju very angry. She grabbed him and shook him. Their friends had to pull them apart. Seonok told her friends to calm down, and they went outside to cool off. Bokju said sorry for losing her temper. Jun-hyung watched from the balcony as the guy and his friends said bad things about the girls. Jun-hyung got angry and punched the guy in the face. He and Taekwon ran away, grabbing the girls with them. They hid under the counter of a convenience store until the guys left. Jun-hyung hit his head on the counter, and Bokju rubbed it. They realized how close they were, and her fingers were in his hair. They froze for a moment, but Bokju pulled her hand back and blinked nervously. They walked to a place with a nice city view. Bokju asked why they ran away. Jun-hyung asked why he ran away with her. Bokju asked if he fought because of her. Jun-hyung said no. She thanked him for making her run and forget some things. Jun-hyung asked what things. She said they were not close enough for serious talk, but asked why he was different from school. Jun-hyung said he would not survive being shy. He asked if he was more attractive now. Bokju said she might hit him and said his chin was too pointy. She looked at the view, but Junhyung looked at her. The next morning, Bokju was woken by Uncle Daeho polishing a new scooter. Dad said Daeho bought it with money from working as an extra. Shiho stopped at a shoe store, remembering when she and Junhyung were together. She wanted to buy matching shoes, but he said he hated that and wrestled her out. Dad gave Bokju a ride to school on the new scooter and gave her money. He told her to have fun with the money and refused to take it back. He said Daeho would go to the hospital with him, so Bokju could be a normal college student. Junhyung and Taekwon went to get their mail, joking around. Junhyung got a package with new sneakers and knew who sent them. He texted Shiho to meet and gave her the shoes back. Bokju looked at the money from her dad, but argued with herself about using it for Jae-yi's program. She thought it would be wrong to use her dad's hard-earned money. Shiho heard the coach and Subin talking about Subin joining the national team after training in Russia. Shiho said she could not go to Russia. The coach asked if it was because of money. Shiho looked sad. The coach called Shiho's mother, who scolded Shiho for not asking about Russia. Shiho got angry and said they could not afford it. She yelled that her mother pretended everything was fine so she would forget they were poor. She threw her phone and took the shoes she bought for Junhyung to the boys' dorm. She found Junhyung and gave him the shoes angrily. She said she understood why he rejected her gift, but told him to wear or throw them away because she already gave them. Bokju checked her messages and saw a text from Jae-yi saying he liked Ronaldo more than Messi now. She stared at the message like it was a love confession. Bokju said she was scared this path might hurt her, but she would go anyway. At the street where she first met Jae-yi, Bokju saw him standing across the road. The light turned green, and as they walked toward each other, Jae-yi waved. They stopped in the middle of the street, and Bokju looked at him, unsure if he was real. She poked his shoulder, and he smiled, and asked if she was okay. She still could not believe he was really there and touched his cheek. Jae-yi looked at her curiously, but did not move away. Kim Bokju went to sign up for Jae-yi's weight loss program. She changed into a gown. At her first meeting, Jae-yi said she was already very healthy. He explained that most of her weight was muscle and that her weight was normal. He planned to help Bokju get healthier slowly and carefully. She agreed. He held out his hand to shake, but Bokju was shy about the calluses on her hands, so she smacked his hand instead. Jae-yi said they should move to the bed, which made Bokju sit up quickly, but he only meant he needed to do an ultrasound. She lay down and felt nervous when he touched her stomach, but he was gentle and covered her with a blanket. After the appointment, Jae-yi walked her out and told her to change her diet slowly. Bokju remembered she still had his umbrella and promised to bring it next time. Bokju walked home happily and stopped at a street vendor's table to look at hair decorations. The vendor suggested she try a red beret that looked pretty, so she bought it. She saw the vendor making beaded charms and wondered if it would be okay to give Jae-yi a gift to thank him when she returned his umbrella. During practice, the rhythmic gymnastics coach scolded Shiho for gaining weight. The coach said Shiho was not serious because she wouldn't go to Russia for training or keep her weight down. Shiho said she would try harder. Subin and her friends sneaked candy in the restroom. Subin said Shiho was acting strange and cried in the boys' dorm yesterday. They wondered if Shiho was breaking down because she didn't make the national team. Subin said Shiho was too old for gymnastics and wouldn't get better. She also said Shiho's parents couldn't afford to support her. Shiho came out of a stall and told Subin not to worry about her family. She left Subin shaking. Shiho bought a soft drink but threw it away and ran outside to throw up. Dr. Go saw her and gave her a handkerchief. She told Shiho it was okay she didn't make the team, but Shiho went back to practice. Bokju made a wish at the fountain on her way back to the dorm. Junhyung sneaked up and scared her. She almost hit him, but he said most girls would be scared, and she fought back. Junhyung saw the bag Bokju was carrying the gift for Jae-yi and tried to grab it. Bokju hit it and yelled at him. He said sorry for forgetting she was a woman. He followed her to the dorm, teasing her. She told him a friend borrowed something from a guy and was giving a gift to say thanks. She asked if that was okay. Junhyung said yes, if it wasn't handmade. Bokju asked why not. Junhyung said handmade gifts mean the girl was thinking about the guy, which can make him uncomfortable if they aren't close. Bokju went home and opened the beading kit she bought. She was glad she didn't make a big mistake. Shiho came into the room while Bokju got a text about her next appointment. Shiho said Bokju looked happy and guessed she was dating. Bokju said no. Nan-hee and Seon-aki told her Shiho went to the boys' dorm. but Bokju was more surprised to learn Shiho used to date Jun Hyung. Her friends said he was cute and popular, but Bokju said a guy should be mature. Their senior Sangchul yelled at them for talking instead of working out and for not cleaning the equipment. Team captain Woon-ki stopped the argument and said he should have trained them better. Sangchul got mad when Woon-ki ran off to take a call. Bokju ate lunch fast to make it to her appointment. Her friends complained about the seniors being strict. Bokju looked for clothes that weren't black or gray and put the red pin in her hair before running to the clinic. Bokju gave Jae-yi the umbrella back. He noticed her pin and said it was pretty. She was sad she hadn't lost weight yet, but he said it was early. He asked her major, but she didn't want to say weightlifting because she was afraid he'd think she wasn't feminine. She saw a statue of a man with a cello on his desk and said she was a cellist. Jae-yi guessed that's why she was muscular, carrying a heavy instrument. He talked excitedly about loving classical music. Her phone rang. It was her dad, saying he was bringing chicken to her dorm. She hurried out. She almost crashed into Jun Hyung on his bike and begged for a ride back. He teased her about the beret and agreed. At the dorm, she jumped off and ran inside. Shiho saw them and looked surprised. Bokju stopped her dad in the dorm lobby and told him not to go to her room. He didn't understand why. She took the chicken and sent him away. Jun Hyung had his first therapy session. The therapist said his tests showed he was under a lot of stress. The therapist asked about his symptoms during matches and if anything shocking happened. Jun Hyung said no. The therapist said he didn't like showing weakness and was hard to treat. Jae-yi joined him and asked about therapy. Jun Hyung said the doctor was good. Jae-yi offered a ride home. Jun Hyung saw the umbrella in the car. Jae-yi said he lent it to someone who returned it. Jun Hyung didn't believe him and asked if she was pretty. Jae-yi smiled and said yes. Jun Hyung's roommate, Taekwon, found the card Bokju included with the umbrella and sighed that Jae-yi had another college girl under his spell. Shiho asked Bokju how she knew Jun Hyung. Bokju said they went to the same elementary school. Team captain Woon-ki missed practice, so Sang-chul led the morning run. Coach Choi wondered why Woon-ki skipped without telling her. Bokju took less food than usual at lunch. Jun Hyung took her tray and teased her, holding it above her head while she jumped. He liked bumping into her. His fun stopped when Shiho came and held Bokju's arm like they were best friends. She told Jun Hyung they were roommates and joined their meal. Shiho put food on Jun Hyung's plate like a girlfriend, which annoyed him. He left the table. Shiho followed and asked why they couldn't eat together nicely. He called her selfish and walked away. Shiho said, "Let's get back together." She said it was silly because she broke up with him. She blamed pressure from national team trials and not improving. Flashback showed Shiho's coach yelling at her and her breaking up with Jun Hyung to focus on training. Jun Hyung said he was having a hard time and felt like killing himself. She apologized and promised to change, but he said he was not easy and left. Bokju's friends wondered about Shiho and Jun Hyung, but Bokju thought about her next appointment. Bokju was late for her appointment because of a fight among the seniors. It rained, and she was soaked when she arrived. Jae-yi played classical music and congratulated her for losing some weight. He leaned over to explain test results. He noticed she was not listening, and she said she was paying attention to the music. He talked excitedly about music. She pretended to know about it. She dried her face with a tissue, and he leaned close to take a wet piece off, making her blush. Nan-hee and Seon-ok walked home in the rain, thinking Bokju was helping with deliveries. They felt bad for eating so much chicken at Bokju's dad's place, and decided to help. Business was slow, and Uncle Daeho wondered where Bokju was. Dad said she was training for a competition. Nan-hee lied that Bokju was at a sauna and called her a sly fox. They waited when Bokju tried to sneak into her dorm. They asked where she had been. Bokju said it was embarrassing. Nan-hee joked about her hemorrhoid acting up. In her room, she played the music Jae-yi liked. Shiho was surprised Bokju liked classical music. She said Jun Hyung was charming and caring, but Bokju said she hadn't noticed. Shiho said she wanted to get back with Jun Hyung but broke his heart. She asked Bokju for help. Bokju said she wasn't close to him, but Shiho didn't believe her. Coach Yoon told Coach Choi he was worried the team might not get semi-pro offers and could be unemployed. Coach Choi said there were only a few competitions left and had an idea. They went to Bokju's dad with a plan for Bokju to move up a weight class. It would make it easier for her to win medals and give others a chance. Jae-yi offered a reward for losing weight and told her to think about what she wanted. Bokju happily changed clothes. Suddenly, Jun Hyung appeared. Jae-yi came in. Junhyung called him brother. Kim Bok-ju was shocked to see Junhyung in Jae-yi's office. He pointed at her and asked why she was there. She quickly said that she and Junhyung went to elementary school together and pretended they hadn't seen each other since. Junhyung stared at her like she was acting strange. When Jae-yi said this was the cellist he mentioned, Junhyung understood and played along, shaking her hand like they were just meeting again. He looked at her like she was in big trouble. Walking back to campus, Junhyung joked that she picked the right instrument. He saw she was upset and asked why. He guessed she liked Jae-yi and asked if she would get in trouble if the other weightlifters found out she was trying to lose weight. Bok-ju asked him to keep her secret. He zipped his lips but then said he might tell depending on how she acted. He smiled, making Bok-ju angry but afraid of what he might say. The next day at lunch, Junhyung sat next to Bok-ju with a big smile. He stopped her from leaving and pretended he was too tired to cut his meat, so she had to do it. His friend Taekwon wondered why Junhyung made Bok-ju do things. Her friends asked what was going on between them and guessed they liked each other. Bok-ju said no, just that she thought he wasn't so bad. But her friends knew something was wrong. Later, Junhyung saw Bok-ju going to another appointment with Jae-yi and followed her. At the clinic, Bok-ju told Jae-yi that losing weight was hard. He said it takes time. They talked about Junhyung and agreed he had changed a lot. Junhyung came in, and Jae-yi's next patient canceled, so they all went to dinner. Bok-ju tried to say no, but Junhyung's quiet threat made her agree. At the buffet, Jae-yi helped a small girl with her food, and Bok-ju smiled. Jae-yi gave Bok-ju healthy food to try. Junhyung teased that's why Jae-yi was popular with girls. He talked a lot about how strong Bok-ju was, and she said she didn't like sports. Jae-yi remembered she said she liked soccer and Messi. Junhyung teased her about that. When Jae-yi took a call, Bok-ju asked how long Junhyung would keep teasing her. She almost threw water at him, but gave it to his mouth when he returned. Jae-yi offered them a ride, but Bok-ju wanted to talk to Junhyung alone. He tried to get into the car, but she held him back. She made a deal. He could punch her once, and then stop teasing her. He refused, saying he liked knowing her secret. At the dorm, Taekwon warned Junhyung that Ki-seok was mad because he left practice early. Bok-ju was doing crunches when Shiho asked if she saw Junhyung. Bok-ju said not to talk about him because he was teasing her. It was athletic meet day. Taekwon cheered. Shiho asked where Junhyung was. He was at an internet cafe playing games. The first event was dodgeball between weightlifters and gymnasts. Bok-ju was the last player and hit Subin to win. Ki-seok noticed Junhyung was missing and told Taekwon to find him. Taekwon couldn't find Junhyung and told Bok-ju he was avoiding the rice lifting event. Bok-ju called Junhyung and offered to compete for him if he stopped teasing her about lying to Jae-yi. The coaches said weightlifters couldn't compete in rice bag lifting because it wasn't fair, but as long as judo beat swimming, weightlifters would win. Taekwon said swimming would compete anyway. Bok-ju walked in confidently. Her teammates were unhappy because if she won, weightlifters would lose. Bok-ju wanted to stop Junhyung's teasing and worked hard, lifting bags easily. The swim team cheered. Junhyung saw Bok-ju win and looked sad. Shiho saw him watching Bok-ju and noticed he was upset later. He grabbed Bok-ju and asked why she did it. She said she was tired of teasing and warned him to keep her secret. He said he wouldn't tell her team, but she worried he'd tell Jae-yi. He asked if she liked Jae-yi and why. She apologized and left. The next morning, Shiho asked why Bok-ju helped Junhyung. Bok-ju said it was personal. Junhyung sent Bok-ju a ticket to a classical music concert and said he gave another to Jae-yi. Bok-ju was surprised. Subin and friends made fun of Bok-ju and friends for never dating. Nan-hee scared them off. Bok-ju thought about going to the concert. Bok-ju went to the concert in a simple dress with a red bow. She pretended to be shocked to see Jae-yi. They smiled at each other during the concert. Jae-yi gave her a ride home. It rained, and Jae-yi said it always rained when they were together. Bok-ju said clouds followed her, but Jae-yi said sunlight followed her. Bok-ju asked Jae-yi to speak casually, but he said he spoke formally because she was his patient. At therapy, Junhyung told the doctor he learned to swim when he was 11. He said he felt lonely and awkward, but the water felt safe, like his mother's arms. His mother left him when she moved to Canada after marrying someone else. She sent presents and postcards, so he didn't feel abandoned. But one year, he cut his hand on a gifts package and looked for a bandage. He found blank postcards and realized his aunt was sending the gifts, not his mother. That shocked him and made competition hard. The doctor said they could work on his problem now. Shiho was having trouble practicing and kept dropping her ball. She got frustrated and ate big bites of bread from her bag. Junhyung sat at a store and saw Jae-yi and Bokju drive by. He was upset she wore a frumpy dress to hang out with Jae-yi. He watched as Bokju bowed deeply to Jae-yi and changed into comfy clothes. Junhyung followed her and teased her about the dress. She glared, and he said he was joking. She thanked him for the concert tickets and smiled. Suddenly, a car splashed water on them, and Junhyung hid behind Bokju. She screamed and chased him through the streets. They talked about Jae-yi noticing Bokju liked him. She showed Junhyung her calluses, but he said that was no problem, and he liked that she could take care of herself. He told her about a wish-granting toad in a pond and said she should wish to be with Jae-yi. Bokju sneezed in his face, and he moved away. Bokju's dad worried about her coaches wanting her to move up a weight class. The coaches talked to Bokju and said her dad agreed. They wanted her to gain 3 to 4 kilos because the higher class had less competition. Bokju felt sad because it meant disappointing Jae-yi. She called her dad to complain, but he said being a weightlifter means always challenging yourself. Her friends tried to support her, but she was upset. Junhyung told his coach he wanted to swim in a beginner race. The coach agreed but worried about Junhyung's cough. Junhyung told Bokju she caused his cold. She told him about moving up a weight class. He didn't think it was a problem since she wasn't really seeing Jae-yi. Bokju was upset. At training, Bokju told Coach Choi she would try moving up. The coaches were happy. Coach Choi made her eat lots of food. At her next appointment, Jae-yi saw she gained weight and gave her more treatments. Junhyung's cold stayed, and his friends worried. Shiho sat with him at lunch, but he said she acted like a stalker. Bokju's dad and uncle brought a big barrel of chicken soup to her dorm. She said she couldn't eat it all, but her dad wanted her to gain weight. Coach Choi carried the soup and pizzas inside. Nan-hee and Seon-ok helped Bokju eat. Nan-hee saw a text about Bokju's next appointment and called Bokju crazy for liking Jae-yi. Bokju agreed. Before Junhyung's swim meet, Shiho gave Taekwon ginger tea for Junhyung's cough. Nan-hee and Bokju talked about Jae-yi's perfections. Seon-ok joined, annoyed. The next morning, Seon-ok gave Bokju breakfast to help her gain weight. Nan-hee pretended to choke and hid extra sausage. Nan-hee helped Bokju get ready with pigtails and a cute outfit. Bokju's dad called to say he bought special abalone for her and told her not to bring friends. Junhyung biked past Bokju and asked for good luck, but she was still mad and said she hoped he failed. Jae-yi was surprised Bokju gained weight again. She apologized, but he said diets are hard and warned about social eating. He talked about Junhyung's competition and said it was important. Junhyung had been making mistakes for years and could be on the national team without them. Bokju felt bad for being mean to Junhyung. She wished him luck at the fountain. Shiho secretly watched Junhyung swim. He remembered his therapist's advice to think of other things when nervous. He counted down but started hearing ringing and blurred vision. He missed the start whistle but swam well and finished 4th. Shiho waited with ginger tea but missed him. Bokju saw the results and tried to text him but stopped. She sent a message with a paper toad she made. Shiho saw Bokju and Junhyung and called Junhyung. He ignored her, and she threw away the ginger tea. Bokju took Junhyung to her dad's restaurant. Dad and Uncle Daeho looked at Junhyung suspiciously. Dad remembered when Junhyung paid a fake bill. Daeho wondered why Bokju brought a boy home, but she said they were just friends. Dad served abalone, but watched Junhyung closely. Junhyung finally ate, but saw them watching. Dad thought Junhyung wasn't good enough, but Daeho thought he was better than Bokju. Later, Bokju took Junhyung to a place with a nice view. She asked if her neighborhood was pretty. He said yes, but looked at her, not the view. Bokju asked what caused Junhyung's problem. He didn't answer. He said Jae-yi took him to a pool when he was a kid and got him into swimming. She asked if that changed him. He said yes, but swimming was more stressful now. They both shouted they hated being ranked, but knew it was part of sports. Bokju said she could see he would be successful because of his strong eyes. He teased her about being drawn in. They looked at the city. Shiho found Bokju's weight loss diary. Junhyung felt better walking back. He asked how long she would keep lying about losing weight. She said soon. He yelled about a toad in the fountain. Bokju thought he was teasing but saw the real toad. The next morning, Junhyung saw Shiho going into the weightlifting gym and thought it was strange. Bokju was called home. At the restaurant, her dad and coaches looked upset. Dad threw her weight loss diary on the table and asked what it was. He threw Bokju's weight loss journal on the table and shouted loudly, "What is this?" Coach Yoon tried to calm him down, But Dad was too upset. He grabbed a mop handle and tried to chase Bokju. Coach Yoon and Uncle Daeho held him back, while Coach Choi stood in front of Bokju to protect her. Bokju looked very sorry. They all quietly left and went back to school. At practice, the coaches made Bokju do many squats until she was very tired. Junhyung's aunt invited him to dinner for Jaeyi's birthday, and he agreed. He sent a text to Bokju, teasing her that it was her crush's birthday and that he was being a good friend. Bokju finished her squats, and Coach Choi talked to her. She said Bokju was too mature and serious to go to a weight loss clinic just to be curious. But Bokju didn't say why she really went. Coach Choi said she would stay by Bokju's side because her training must continue. Coach Choi warned Bokju not to leave campus without permission. Shiho went for a walk, looking upset. She was thinking about how turning in the weight loss diary hurt Bokju. She wondered how far she would go. Shiho walked in the middle of the street, blocking cars. Dr. Go found her and took her for coffee. She asked why Shiho was so sad. Shiho said she hated herself because she did something bad out of jealousy. Dr. Go said jealousy is terrible and told Shiho not to be too hard on herself. She asked if it was about the love triangle she mentioned before. Shiho said it wasn't really a triangle. Jaeyi was worried when Bokju didn't come to her appointment. He went to dinner with his parents and Junhyung. Dr. Go called him, and Jaeyi's mom was happy to hear he was talking to a lady. She invited Dr. Go to join them. Jaeyi felt shy as his parents met Dr. Go. She wondered why Junhyung and Jaeyi were so different, since they were cousins. Jaeyi asked Junhyung why Bokju missed her appointment. Junhyung thought it was strange. After dinner, Jaeyi gave Dr. Go a ride home. Junhyung worried about Bokju as he walked home. He knew she would have come if she knew it was Jaeyi's birthday. He went to the chicken restaurant to look for her. Uncle Daeho said she was under close watch from her coaches. Junhyung felt sorry for Bokju getting caught going to the clinic. He went back to their dorm and called her careless. He sent her a text about Jaeyi's birthday and another asking if she was okay. Bokju saw the texts and felt sad. She went back to bed and cried quietly. Coach Choi watched Bokju eat breakfast carefully. She didn't like being so strict. Junhyung and his roommate Taekwon saw Bokju eating under Coach Choi's eye. Junhyung paced outside the gym, wanting to talk to Bokju, but unsure why. He almost called her, but stopped when he saw Coach Choi following her. Bokju's dad was sick and refused to go to dialysis. Bokju went home to see him. At first he wouldn't talk to her. Then he yelled, "Why do you care if I get treatment?" Bokju snapped and said yes. She went to the weight clinic, but what Dad was doing was no different. Dad got even madder and said he would give the weight loss doctor a piece of his mind for tricking a student. Bokju chased him outside, begging him not to go to the clinic. She promised she would never go again. Suddenly, Dad collapsed. Coach Choi called a taxi to take him to the hospital. Bokju's dad had emergency dialysis, and Uncle Daeho sent Bokju back to training. She and Coach Choi stopped for a drink. Coach Choi said she understood Bokju's father's reaction and told her to be good to him. Then Coach Choi was called to the office and told Bokju to go straight to training. Bokju stopped by a bright store window and saw a plant with a happy birthday card. Bokju went to Jaeyi's clinic with a happy birthday plant. She thought she might not see him again. She told Jaeyi the truth. She was a weightlifter at Hanul Sport University. She said she was strong and liked Big Bang more than classical music. She told him she liked him. She said she would forget him soon. She left the plant on his car. Jaeyi found it and smiled. But Bokju was gone. Bokju took Junhyung's call while walking back to school. He asked if she was okay and mentioned Coach Choi following her. She started to explain but saw Seonok and Nan-hee waving. She hung up. Coach Choi was angry and asked why Bokju broke her promise not to leave campus. Bokju stayed quiet, so Coach Choi decided to punish her harder. Later, she told the coach about Jaeyi, and Coach Choi said she wouldn't stop her from dating. Junhyung was worried about Bokju. He saw her crying in Coach Choi's lap. Coach Choi said she would hurt the boy who made Bokju cry. She sent Bokju home to sleep and be with her dad. She told Bokju training would start tomorrow. As Bokju walked, she saw a sausage roll on the sidewalk. She stepped closer and saw Junhyung hiding behind a bush, pretending to fish. He popped out happily, glad to talk to her. He asked why she wasn't answering his calls. Bokju sighed. Junhyung didn't push and put his arm around her. They went to eat. Junhyung took Bokju for grilled meat. After dinner, Junhyung took Bokju to a club to help her feel better. He let her open his drink and was impressed by her strength. He pulled her to dance. Junhyung and Bokju walked home early. Junhyung asked how she got caught going to Jaeyi's clinic. Bokju said the coaches found her diary. but she thought it was safe. After Bokju left, Junhyung wondered why her story about the diary didn't seem right. He remembered Shiho storming into the gym and wondered if she had something to do with it. Bokju went to her room and found Shiho already there. Shiho asked how she was. Bokju said she looked bad yesterday. She wished Shiho luck for her competition and lay down for a nap. Bokju almost missed the morning run. She hurried out and found Seon-ok giving her and Nan-hee the silent treatment. Bokju got a call from Dad to come to the restaurant. Dad was grumpy but gave her a lipstick and told her to use it only when going out. Shiho was happy after her competition. Junhyung called to talk and congratulated her. She told him about breaking her mirror but said it wasn't a bad sign. He said he saw her at the weightlifting gym. Junhyung asked if it was her. She said she left the diary there. Junhyung asked why. He got angry and asked why she hurt Bokju. Shiho said it was none of his business. Bokju was in her room thinking about calling the clinic to stop her appointments. She called Junhyung for advice. Shiho burst in, took the phone, and asked why Bokju kept calling and seeing Junhyung. She said she heard Bokju liked someone else and asked why she was making moves on Junhyung. She admitted she left the diary at the gym for the coaches to find. Bokju could only stare. Bokju shouted that she had no plans to date Junhyung. She told Shiho she misunderstood the situation and demanded an apology. But Shiho refused, saying that Junhyung hurt her feelings because of Bokju. Bokju said that was Shiho's fault, not hers. And now she understood why Junhyung didn't want Shiho back. Bokju tried to leave, calling Shiho two-faced, but Shiho grabbed her back and yelled that Bokju knew nothing about their relationship. Bokju agreed and said she wasn't interested either, then tried to leave again. Shiho wouldn't let go, so Bokju threw an elbow that knocked her down. Shiho jumped up, angry that Bokju was making fun of their relationship. Bokju elbowed her again, and this time Shiho stayed down. Bokju went to her friend's room. Seon-ok still wasn't talking to Nan-hee for keeping Bokju's secret about liking Jae-yi. Bokju burst in, angry, and noticed Seon-ok's silence too. She told Seon-ok to blame her, and Seon-ok just lay her head on her bed. Bokju told Nan-hee about her fight with Shiho, and Nan-hee said she would go kick Shiho's butt. Bokju was annoyed when Junhyung finally called her, but agreed to meet him on the roof. Junhyung waited on the top bunk, nervously practicing his apology. Bokju asked him to leave her alone so they could stop causing trouble. He guessed Shiho told her everything and apologized. Bokju, still angry, started to tell him he should be sorry, until she saw how bad he felt. She softened and just said she didn't understand what Shiho saw in him. The house mother came to check the roof, so Junhyung grabbed Bokju and threw them both onto the mattress to hide. Bokju worried that people might see and misunderstand, but Junhyung didn't seem to mind. He pulled her closer, saying he was cold as an excuse to hold her tight. She allowed it and commented on his high nose. He said from that angle, she looked pretty. Shiho was back in her coach's good graces after a great competition. The coach gave her water and training advice. Other gymnasts noticed the change, but Subin thought it wouldn't last. Shiho threw the water away, annoyed. She found her younger sister crying about their parents fighting. Shiho's mother confirmed they were divorcing. The mother tried to protect Shiho from stress, but Shiho was angry she wasn't told. She wanted to quit gymnastics and get a job, but her mother said her life wasn't only hers. Shiho felt worse, knowing her parents fought over supporting her. She yelled at her mother to live her own life better. Her mother slapped her, then regretted it. Shiho left crying. Junhyung went home for dinner and watched his aunt and uncle lovingly argue. He felt comfortable bickering with Bokju for the same reason. At therapy, he joked about failing to control his mind and asked for a refund. The counselor said they'd keep trying and asked if he thought about finding his mother. Junhyung said no, feeling loyal to his aunt and uncle. Bokju talked to Seon-ok about feeling left out. Seon-ok yelled that they would have understood because that's what friends do. Bokju cried and apologized. Seon-ok apologized too, and they hugged, crying loudly. The girls sang and danced at the noribang. Bokju asked for more time and got it by complimenting the attendant, who knew her dad. The attendant asked Bokju to have her dad bring leftover chicken sometime. Shiho listened to sad songs and cried, thinking about her mother's sacrifices for her gymnastics dream. Coach Choi went to Bokju's family chicken place after drinking and found Uncle Daeho alone. He brought her a soju and noticed her makeup. He guessed she'd been stood up and sat with her. She tried to act cool, but they drank 4 sojus and got angry drunk. The next morning, Coach Choi woke up in Bokju's room and apologized to Bokju's dad, who said it was no problem and made her hangover soup. Bokju started intense training. Her dad brought chicken and Uncle Daeho with him. Coach Choi felt uncomfortable when Dad winked at her knowingly. Bokju answered a call from Jae-yi, who worried she hadn't made more appointments. She told him she couldn't come because she was going to study abroad in Germany. Jae-yi said it felt like saying goodbye to a good friend. Bokju fought tears but finally sobbed. She called Jun-hyung and told him she told Jae-yi she was leaving the clinic. Jun-hyung asked if she'd been crying, but she changed the subject. He said he was free and met her at the wishing fountain. He gave her quarters and asked her wish. She wished the person she liked would like her back. Jun-hyung looked sad, but she said it was hopeless. She told him she said she was studying abroad. He laughed, and she said it was his fault. He told her to think of it as her first love and let it go. Bokju said she'd never date again. Jun-hyung smiled and asked if she wanted to go clubbing or see a movie. She chose the movie. Shiho wasn't feeling well and collapsed outside a pharmacy. Shiho called him, and he answered, but didn't look happy. Bokju waited at the movie theater, annoyed Jun-hyung was late and hadn't called. He was with Shiho, who apologized for calling him. She said she felt burdened by her family's sacrifices. She said if she'd known, she wouldn't have done gymnastics. Jun-hyung silently listened. Bokju fell asleep waiting and called him when she woke. He didn't answer but looked scared when he saw her call. He sent Shiho home alone. Shiho tried to hug Jun-hyung, but he pushed her away and ran to meet Bokju. She was playing a shooting game, yelling at him for standing her up. He apologized many times, but she ignored him. Halfway home, she asked why he wouldn't say why he stood her up. He took her hand and punched himself. She said she'd never been stood up before. He said it was probably because no one had invited her out. They stopped for street food, and Bokju ate a lot. The vendor said Jun-hyung was sweet. They said he wasn't her boyfriend, but the vendor guessed he was her husband. Back at the dorm, Bokju grabbed Jun-hyung and dragged him around. Shiho saw them and deleted pictures of them together, then cried. Jun-hyung's aunt brought food to Jae-yi's office. She gave some to Dr. Go, making Jae-yi uncomfortable. Bokju hurt her back during training, and Jun-hyung saw her going to the infirmary. He wanted to see Jae-yi but stopped and let her go. He went to Jae-yi's office and moved Bokju's birthday plant. The receptionist said Jae-yi went to see Dr. Go. Jae-yi called Dr. Go, but Bokju was still getting treatment. Jun-hyung was late and called Taekwon to help get Bokju out. Taekwon ran into Seonok and Nan-hee and asked for help stopping Jae-yi. Nan-hee threw herself in front of the car but stopped the wrong one. Taekwon got to the infirmary first and hid with Bokju when Dr. Go and Jae-yi returned. Jun-hyung arrived out of breath and saw them. He demanded food and dragged Jae-yi and Dr. Go out to eat, barely stopping Jae-yi from seeing Bokju. After eating, Jun-hyung texted Bokju that it was safe. But Dr. Go called to say Jae-yi left his phone behind. Jun-hyung ran back to get it, but didn't warn Bokju that Jae-yi was close. She didn't notice when he drove past her. Jae-yi stopped and called her name. Bokju froze, wearing her weightlifting shirt, unable to speak. Jun-hyung arrived just a moment too late. Kim Bokju walked past Jae-yi's car without knowing he was still on campus. Suddenly, Jae-yi got out and called her name. Bokju froze, caught and unable to move. Jun-hyung came running up just moments too late to stop his cousin from seeing Bokju. Jae-yi asked Bokju what she was doing there. Thinking quickly, Jun-hyung said she came to visit him, but Bokju was holding her weightlifting team jersey, which made Jun-hyung's story sound untrue. Bokju decided it was time to tell the truth. She told Jae-yi that she was a student on the weightlifting team. She admitted she lied about playing the cello and studying abroad. She quickly excused herself. Jae-yi and Jun-hyung sat down to talk. Jun-hyung explained that Bokju asked him to keep her secret because she was desperate. Jae-yi asked why she lied about coming to his clinic when she was a weightlifter. Jun-hyung scrambled for an excuse and said she wanted to lose weight because she started to like someone. Jae-yi didn't realize he was that person. Jun-hyung told Jae-yi about Bokju getting in trouble with her coaches. Jae-yi felt terrible about his part in it. He asked who Bokju liked, but Jun-hyung just said he was hungry and changed the subject. After practice, Shiho got a call from her younger sister Shi-yeon. Shi-yeon said their father got a new job and moved out, and their mother was selling the house. Shi-yeon was angry and asked what Shiho's gymnastics had done for the family. She yelled that Shiho should have tried harder to stop their parents' breakup. She told Shiho not to contact her anymore and left crying. Nan-hee and Seonok watched Bokju until she wore herself out. When Bokju collapsed, they carried her off the track. The next morning, Taekwon excitedly told Jun-hyung about a triple date he set up with girls from another university. They ran into Shiho leaving the dorm, but she ignored Jun-hyung. Bokju and her senior Woonki trained hard for their upcoming competition in new weight classes. Junhyung went on the triple date, but was uninterested in the girls. They liked him a lot, and he was glad when Bokju called to give him an excuse to leave. She asked what Jae said after she left. Junhyung teased her for waiting so long to ask. He took her to an arcade to blow off steam. She played games aggressively, beating him at the punching bag and even breaking a game. He pulled her outside before the owner caught them and told her to control her emotions. Shiho was struggling with a sore ankle and twisted it again during practice. She got a call from her mother saying her sister Shiyeon didn't come home last night. Shiho found Shiyeon at a friend's house and dragged her out. Shiyeon didn't want to go home and said Shiho never cared about her before. Shiho put her in a taxi, but Shiyeon closed the door and left alone. Junhyung said he didn't tell Bokju to like Jae. She asked if he knew what started it all. He asked what, and she said, "The dressing table." She told him the whole story again. He said everything was caused by the dressing table, or him. Bokju was impressed he figured it out, and then fell sideways out of her chair. She was too tall to piggyback, so Junhyung dragged her down the street, complaining loudly. Bokju whined at him to take responsibility. He stopped at a bench to rest, and Bokju said she was cold. He found a newspaper and wrapped it around her. When he sat down, she leaned over and rested her head in his lap. He smiled down at her sleeping face. Later, Junhyung leaned forward, his face close to Bokju's. Just before their lips touched, he woke up with a scream. He wasn't about to kiss her, he was falling asleep. He had a great idea and swiped a grocery cart to wheel the drunk Bokju home. She yelled fried chicken orders while he begged her to wake up. He made it to her place and handed her to her angry father. Uncle Dae-ho put Bokju in bed, and Dad tucked her in. They realized she got drunk with Junhyung. Bokju yelled, "Take responsibility, Junhyung," and the men went to confront him. They cornered Junhyung, who swore they were just friends, and he hadn't done anything. Dad asked if he was sure, then yelled at him for not seeing Bokju as a beautiful woman. Junhyung cried out of fear. Dae-ho calmed Dad, and told Junhyung to respect their bodies and not stay out late. Junhyung agreed and asked to go home. Dae-ho apologized for Dad's protectiveness and gave Junhyung cab fare. He said he liked the idea of them dating. Junhyung's aunt didn't believe his story and knew he was out all night. He begged for forgiveness as Jae-yi laughed, then let Jae-yi off when he said he was helping Dr. Go buy a stereo. Coach Choi was called to the police station. She learned Woon-ki punched a taxi driver who harassed his wife. She found out Woon-ki was married with a baby. He apologized for not telling her. The taxi driver wanted a big settlement. Coach Choi offered to pay and promised Woon-ki would pay her back. She didn't tell him she didn't have the money and started calling to find it. Jae-yi helped Dr. Go pick a stereo and got her to install it for lunch. He asked if she knew Bokju and said she was the patient he told her about. Dr. Go wondered why Bokju went to a weight loss clinic. Jae-yi said Junhyung told him Bokju had a crush. Dr. Go thought Bokju must like Junhyung because he was handsome and popular. Jae-yi agreed they seemed close. They met Bokju on their way to lunch and invited her. Bokju tried to say no but went with them, looking uncomfortable around Jae-yi. She watched Jae-yi and Dr. Go share a menu. Junhyung also came. Dr. Go asked if Bokju had a crush at school, but Jae-yi told her to stop being nosy. Dr. Go asked how long Bokju and Junhyung had been close. Junhyung said they just reconnected. Dr. Go said Junhyung had changed so much she would have had a crush on him if she were Bokju. Jae-yi got Dr. Go to stop pushing. Bokju got uncomfortable when Jae-yi started loading Dr. Go's plate. Junhyung noticed and put food on Bokju's plate to make her feel better. Dr. Go offered a ride, but Junhyung guessed Bokju would say no and declined for both. On the walk home, Bokju said she was glad they had lunch because she felt closure and could focus on her competition. She said Jae-yi and Dr. Go looked good together. Junhyung wondered why Bokju wasn't proud of being a female weightlifter. Bokju said she was proud, but women weightlifters weren't beautiful. She said they didn't want the guys they liked to see them that way. Junhyung said she just needed a man who loved all of her. Bokju said that was hard to find. Junhyung said they existed and started to say he was one, but Bokju got distracted by seagulls and asked her to choose between him and the birds. They played on the beach, tossing each other into the ocean and collapsing on the sand. Bokju cuddled close to Junhyung, who teased her for being too competitive. Bokju said she told him everything, but only knew about his trauma. He promised to tell her more and said he once left chocolate on her desk in elementary school. Little Bokju was happy and ate it while little Junhyung smiled. Bokju asked if he had a crush on her. He said no, he just thought she was cool. Bokju pouted, and he decided to tell her a big secret. He said Jae-yi wasn't his brother but his cousin. His parents were actually his aunt and uncle. His mom remarried and moved to Canada, leaving him with them. Bokju guessed that was why he transferred schools suddenly. He said he didn't get to say goodbye. Bokju trained hard, exercising and eating all day. She made the weight requirement the day before the tournament, and her coaches celebrated. On the competition morning, she spilled a drink on her lucky t-shirt. She stopped to toss a coin in the wishing fountain, where Jun-hyung found her. She said she felt nervous and awful. Jun-hyung held her face and told her she was the team's ace and wouldn't make mistakes. He promised to cheer her on. Jae-yi went to Dr. Go's office. She told him about the weightlifting match that day and that Bokju would compete. At the stadium, Woon-ki was first and did great. Bokju was next. She looked nervous but focused. She told herself to do this and just think about the barbell. Jae-yi came into the audience with a big bouquet of flowers and found a seat. She saw him before grabbing the weight and lost focus for a moment. Bokju felt self-conscious about her bigger body, but saw Jae-yi smiling encouragingly. She made a clean lift, but her thoughts reminded her that Jae-yi could see her veins, red face, and bulging belly. Still, she succeeded. As she dropped the barbell, Jun-hyung ran into the stadium. He saw the cheering crowd and Bokju on stage, looking humiliated. He noticed his cousin watching. Jun-hyung knew why Bokju looked like she wanted to cry. Jun-hyung burst into the auditorium just as Bokju finished her lift. He saw that she looked very unhappy. He noticed Jae-yi sitting in the audience and immediately knew why Bokju felt ashamed. Jun-hyung saw Jae-yi coming toward the door and grabbed him before he could enter. He took Jae-yi outside to the parking lot and angrily asked how he knew to come here. Jae-yi said he heard about the competition from Dr. Go and thought he'd come to cheer for Bokju. Jun-hyung knew it wasn't a small thing for Bokju. He had seen how much it hurt her to be seen red-faced and struggling to lift the heavy barbell. He exploded and said that Jae-yi was the guy Bokju liked. He said Bokju lied to him because of her crush, and now the lie was hurting her. He told Jae-yi to leave before he hurt Bokju even more. On the bus back to school, the team was happy and celebrating. Even Coach Yoon smiled at their success. Bokju's dad called and invited the whole team to his chicken restaurant for dinner. Bokju stayed quiet, staring out the window and not joining the fun. Coach Yoon and Bokju's dad talked about how proud they were of Bokju. Uncle Dae-ho nervously brought Coach Choi a bowl of her favorite stew. Coach Yoon wondered when she had come to the restaurant without him. Coach Choi just started chanting the team cheer. Bokju avoided the party and sat alone in her room, feeling sad. She couldn't stop thinking about Jae-yi seeing her lift weights and how embarrassed she was. She cried again. Jun-hyung stopped by the restaurant and looked inside. He saw Bokju wasn't with the team and decided to leave her alone that night. Jae-yi thought about Bokju and how they first met when he lent her his umbrella. He realized the birthday plant on his desk must have been from her. The next day, the coaches told the team that a sponsor called NS Ning wanted to support them after seeing their performance. Coach Choi told Bokju that NS Ning wanted to recruit her to their official team. It was a great chance, but Bokju didn't feel excited. At lunch, her friends asked why she wasn't eating. She said she was fine, but looked tired. Jun-hyung came by and saw she was upset. He followed her when she left, just barely stopping her from walking into the street. He yelled at her to be careful. Bokju was distant and gave a weak apology before walking away again. Jun-hyung worried she hadn't eaten and bought her a big bag of snacks. He tried to cheer her up by praising her performance, but it didn't work. She agreed to eat a little. Jun-hyung tried to make her laugh by copying her funny running style and doing silly impressions, but she barely smiled. She told him he should find something better to do. Jun-hyung felt sad and frustrated. His jokes failed, and Bokju went to take a nap. Her phone rang as soon as she lay down. It was Jae-yi. He asked her to meet at a small cafe and bought her coffee. The coffee had little hearts drawn in the cream. Jae-yi congratulated her on winning and said Jun-hyung was angry that he showed up without telling anyone. He apologized and hoped he hadn't hurt her feelings. They parted, and Bokju went to Jun-hyung's training gym. Outside the gym, Bokju called Jun-hyung in front of the swim team. She asked why he told Jae-yi she liked him. She told him about the hard conversation she had with Jae-yi. She felt Jae-yi was put in a tough spot because he couldn't return her feelings. She blamed Jun-hyung for the whole mess. Jun-hyung tried to explain he only wanted to help, but knew it sounded bad. He said he felt bad seeing her cry and lost his temper. Bokju said he had no right to tell her secret. She yelled that he always did what he wanted and had fun at her expense. Junhyung got angry and asked if she thought it was a joke that he kept her secret, covered her lies, and tried to make her feel better. She said she wasn't sure. Junhyung told her to think whatever she wanted, but wanted to know why she was sad after winning first place. He said she was ashamed, and that as an athlete, he was disappointed. He asked who would love her if she was ashamed of herself and walked away angry. He went to Jaeye's. He said Bokju felt worse after seeing Jaeye apologize. Junhyung said Jaeye could hurt others by trying too hard to be kind. He said Jaeye had done it to him for years, making him feel worse because he wasn't really Jaeye's brother. Jaeye felt bad, and Junhyung said he wished Jaeye would fight with him like real brothers. He left without letting Jaeye speak. The rhythmic gymnasts were weighed again. Most were too heavy for their coach's liking. Shiho was praised for losing weight, but told to lose more. She went to dinner with Junhyung's swimming senior, Kiseok. She felt sick and threw up. Kiseok was worried but said he liked her for years. He said he wasn't annoyed she wasted food. That night, Jaeye went into Junhyung's room and looked at family photos. Junhyung floated in the pool, feeling heavy inside. Nanhee and Seonok burst into Bokju's room, but she refused to wake. They left, worried about their friend. Coach Yoon rushed to the office to check reports that Coach Choi asked for team money in advance. Coach Choi confirmed she used the money for a personal matter, but wouldn't say what. Coach Yoon told the team to practice but looked pale and worried. Nanhee said she saw him going to the office. Woonki overheard Coach Yoon on the phone about the money Coach Choi used. It was the same amount as his settlement. Woonki asked Coach Choi about it. She refused to say, but admitted she used the money wrongly. Woonki said if he'd known, he wouldn't have accepted the money. Coach Choi said nothing could change what happened. Junhyung's aunt called him to help clean the pharmacy. Jaeye was there. Jaeye invited Junhyung to play catch at the park. Junhyung threw the ball too hard and hit Jaeye. Jaeye yelled, thinking it was on purpose. Junhyung was about to apologize when Jaeye smiled and asked if he did a good job being a big brother. They talked and apologized. Jaeye said he never thought being too nice could create distance. Junhyung said he was too sensitive. Jaeye said Junhyung scared him when upset, and wondered if Bokju was special to him. Junhyung says no. Shiho saw Dr. Go about her ankle. Dr. Go noticed Shiho seemed happier and guessed it was because of love. Shiho giggled and said she wanted to stop being obsessive. She and Kiseok went ice skating and were terrible. Kiseok tried to kiss her, but she turned away and apologized. Kiseok said he knew he wasn't the one, and told her to stop hurting herself. Jaeye took Dr. Go for a drink. He said being considerate could hurt feelings and create distance. Dr. Go agreed and wondered if they were really close. Jaeye asked when she was disappointed, but she refused to say. She got a call from an old schoolmate. The news that someone named Hwan Hee might be back made Jaeye uneasy. Coach Yoon was talking seriously with Bokju's father. He told him that Bokju missed an important meeting with a company that wanted to sponsor her. Coach Yoon said he made excuses for her, and the meeting was rescheduled. He thought Bokju disappeared because she was upset about Coach Choi being fired. Bokju's father nodded, and they agreed to keep looking for her and to call when they found her. Just then, Bokju arrived home. She looked sad and tired. Her eyes were full of tears. She looked at her father and said, "I don't want to do weightlifting anymore." Her father was shocked and angry. Bokju said she had always loved weightlifting, even when people said bad things about her because she was a girl who lifted weights. But now, she said, she hated it. She was not happy anymore. She cried and said she didn't want to do weightlifting or anything else. She asked her father, "What should I do now?" Meanwhile, Junhyung got back to his dorm room. He kept thinking about how Bokju had cried in his arms. His roommate Taekwon noticed Junhyung was acting secretive and asked if he was dating someone. Junhyung was surprised by the question. He thought about how much fun he had with Bokju and how close they had become, even physically. He picked up the little origami toad that Bokju made for him and laughed quietly. That night, Bokju lay in bed, tossing and turning. The next morning at breakfast, Uncle Daeho complained that Bokju got all the beef in the soup. Her father just walked out without saying anything. Bokju went to her room, and Daeho complained about the sad mood in the house. Bokju's father went to talk to Coach Yoon about Bokju's decision to stop weightlifting. He said she had always loved it, and seeing her cry made him believe she was serious. Coach Yoon thought Bokju was going through a slump, made worse by Coach Choi's firing. Bokju spent the whole day in her room, doing nothing. Her father came to talk to her and told her to go to her dorm and pack only what she needed for now. They decided she would take a break. Nan-hee and Seon-ok were upset that Bokju was taking a vacation from school. Bokju told them she needed time to think. She wanted to find out why she did weightlifting and what it meant to her. Nan-hee was afraid Bokju might quit and called her a traitor for not talking to them first. Seon-ok told Nan-hee to let Bokju go. On her way out of the dorm, Bokju called Jun-hyung. She told him she was leaving school and wished him luck. Then she hung up. Jun-hyung ran to catch her, but didn't see her outside. He got on his bike and went to her father's chicken shop. He arrived before her. Bokju was surprised to see him waiting. Jun-hyung took her to a park to talk. He gently asked if it was bad to take a break from exercising. Bokju said she had lost all motivation and didn't have plans for her vacation. Jun-hyung worried when she said she might travel and told her to stay close so he could see her. He said she should call him if she got bored. On his way back to the dorm, Jun-hyung met Shiho. She asked why Bokju left school. Jun-hyung asked if she hoped Bokju dropped out. Shiho said no, she just asked because she was her roommate. That night, both Jun-hyung and Bokju lay awake, unable to sleep, but for different reasons. Bokju's father refused to let her help in the restaurant during her rest time. He told her to do what she wanted. He went alone to dialysis, and Bokju went to her room. She decided to make a list of things she wanted to do. The first thing on her list was to study in the library. The second was to learn an instrument. Third, she wanted to go to an amusement park on a weekday to avoid long lines. Fourth, she wanted a boyfriend. She wanted to drink from one cup with 2 straws, walk with her hand in his pocket, and get a bouquet of 100 roses. The weightlifting team was curious why Bokju left. They asked Seon-ok and Nan-hee for details. Seon-ok mumbled something vague before Coach Yoon came in, trying to act like everything was fine. He said group training started today and told them to work hard. Woon-ki followed Coach Yoon to his office and asked what would happen to Coach Choi. Coach Yoon said he was asking the dean to rehire her and told Woon-ki not to worry. After Woon-ki left, Coach Yoon complained that Coach Choi hadn't called him once. Coach Choi was helping her sister at her salon. She jumped to answer the phone when it rang. It was Dae-ho. He asked if she was free for a drink. Bokju went to the library to study, sitting across from a kid with glasses who laughed at her simple study guide. She snarled at him and tried to study but soon fell asleep. Next, Bokju talked to a piano teacher. The lessons were expensive, so she decided to get a part-time job. She didn't notice she was near Jae-yee's clinic. She hid behind a pole and watched him carry boxes upstairs. She shook her head and went to get a job. She tried to convince a courier manager to hire her. He said even grown men gave up because of heavy lifting. Bokju said she was a weightlifter and could handle the boxes. She proved it by lifting heavy boxes easily. Jun-hyung was sad that Bokju hadn't called or answered her phone. He jumped when his phone rang, but it was Jae-yi. Jae-yi said he might have dinner with Dr. Go. Jun-hyung called him a player. Jae-yi said being nice was worse because Jun-hyung couldn't be mad at him. Jae-yi asked how Bokju was. Jun-hyung said he'd worry about her now. Jae-yi smiled and said he knew Jun-hyung liked her. Jun-hyung smiled sheepishly and said she wasn't his type. Jae-yi teased that Jun-hyung's eyes sparkled around Bokju and told him to take care of her. Jun-hyung said Jae-yi rejected her. Jae-yi asked when Jun-hyung would confess. Jun-hyung said he'd wait until Bokju got over her slump. Jae-yi looked proud, and Jun-hyung warned him not to make her cry again. The rhythmic gymnasts practiced. Subin noticed Shiho falling asleep at the bar. Shiho nodded off and fell, embarrassed. Jae-yi and Dr. Go had dinner at an old college place. They talked about a senior who missed a meeting. Jae-yi looked uncomfortable. Dr. Go asked about Jun-hyung and Bokju. She said Bokju had the perfect personality for Jun-hyung. Dae-ho got ready for a drink with Coach Choi. He saw Jun-hyung peering through the chicken shop window and told him Bokju was working late. Bokju seemed to enjoy her job. Jisoo was impressed with her strength and offered to treat her to dinner. They joked about how much she could eat until Jun-hyung arrived, looking jealous and angry. He glared at Jisoo, who invited him to dinner. Jun-hyung said he got social phobia eating with new people. Bokju and Jun-hyung had a silent conversation. Bokju whispered to Jisoo that her friend was sick. Jun-hyung glared when she called Jisoo Appa. Jisoo hugged Jun-hyung and told him to cheer up. Jun-hyung fed Bokju convenience food and asked about the slick guy she worked with. Bokju called him Appa again. Jun-hyung asked how he could be Appa so soon. Bokju didn't notice he was jealous. Junhyung said she should be careful of men who weren't her father or uncle. Bokju asked if that included him. Junhyung said no. Bokju said she liked her job and wanted to use money to learn piano. Junhyung said her long fingers would help. Bokju said she'd play piano at his wedding. Junhyung said she could stand next to him. Bokju missed the point. Junhyung told her not to talk to the slick guy anymore. Bokju said Appa was handsome. Daeho took Coach Choi to a street food tent. They drank soju and supported each other. Daeho tried to piggyback Coach Choi, but she sat next to him and asked if he liked her. He denied it, but then admitted he did. She said she wanted to date him. He asked if she was drunk. She kissed him. Junhyung walked Bokju home. She proved she could fight by twisting his arm. She told him about seeing Jae-yi. He asked how it felt. She said it was strange, but like a cold that was fading. They arrived home. Bokju said she'd work late with that Appa. Junhyung was worried. That night, a girl in the dorm was scared by feet under a bathroom stall. Rumors of a ghost spread. Bokju and her dad had dinner. He said he was okay with her job as long as it wasn't bad. Coach Choi regretted dating Daeho after drinking. She hoped he was too drunk to remember, but he came with hangover soup and smiled. Bokju's boss wanted to introduce her to his nephew. Jisoo said she had a boyfriend with angry eyes. Bokju said he wasn't her boyfriend, but Jisoo teased. Junhyung didn't like Bokju working late with Jisoo. He helped her with heavy boxes. She said people thought they were dating, but they were just friends. Junhyung said it wasn't a misunderstanding. She wasn't just a friend. He kissed her. Bokju pushed him away, asking if he was crazy. He said yes, or he wouldn't be doing it. He said he liked her as a woman, not a friend. He said she made him curious, happy, and worried. He asked if that meant he liked her. At the dorm, Taekwon tried to sneak in after curfew, but the window was locked. Seonoke was on the phone with her mother. Taekwon crawled in through the laundry window. They hid when Nanhee came looking. They stared at each other. Nanhee saw a girl in a nightgown and screamed, thinking it was a ghost. Everyone ran, and Taekwon escaped. Bokju sat on a bench, refusing to talk to Junhyung. He told her to say something. She asked why he liked her when she liked Jae-yi. Junhyung said he couldn't explain. He just liked her. He said she was his first love and giggled. Bokju laughed and said she liked him as a friend. Junhyung said she could start liking him now. He asked her to date him for a month and then decide. She hesitated, but agreed. He told her to act natural and called Nanhee, who told Bokju about the ghost. Bokju agreed to spend the night with her friends. She refused Junhyung's offer to walk her home and dropped her wallet. He picked it up and looked at her ID photo. He smiled but then saw pictures of Jae-yi and threw them away. He read her to-do list and smiled at the part about a boyfriend. Kim Bokju heard a strange noise coming from the dorm kitchen. Curious, she walked quietly to see what it was. There, she saw a girl in a nightgown, sitting on the floor and eating food from the fridge without thinking. The girl turned her head, and Bokju saw it was Shiho. Shiho looked very tired and sick. Bokju was startled and asked, "What are you doing?" Shiho seemed to wake up and looked at the food in her lap like she was surprised to see it. She got up nervously and went back to their dorm room. She jumped into bed and hid under the covers, not answering when Bokju asked if she was okay. The next morning, Bokju went back to their room. Shiho acted like nothing had happened. Bokju asked if she remembered last night. Shiho said she had been sleepwalking lately, but when she turned away, her face looked sad and worried, like she wasn't telling the truth. When Bokju asked if she was okay and mentioned the ghost rumors, Shiho's voice became cold. She told Bokju to mind her own business and left. In the bathroom, Shiho thought about the times she sleepwalked and looked up side effects of sleeping pills on her phone. Outside, Junhyung shouted loudly to distract Bokju and slipped her wallet back into her bag. He acted like nothing happened and reminded Bokju that she agreed to try dating him for a month before deciding. He asked if she wanted to hang out later. He grabbed her face, making Bokju worry he might kiss her again. But he was just teasing and said he would call her later. The college had a 3-day break. Bokju acted annoyed when Junhyung texted that he was coming to pick her up. But she spent a long time getting ready in front of the mirror. Her dad came in looking for Uncle Daeho, who had been gone a lot. Dad didn't seem well. Bokju worried his dialysis wasn't working well, but Dad said he was fine. Bokju found Junhyung outside and complained. He flustered her by saying it was normal to meet his girlfriend in front of her house. She said they were just friends, but when Dad came outside, she grabbed Junhyung in a headlock and dragged him away. Junhyung said he was free all day and asked what she wanted to do. He remembered her wish to go to an amusement park on a weekday, but she was cranky and said it was childish. He kept pestering her until she agreed, but then she remembered she had plans with Seonok and Nan-hee. To get Bokju to the amusement park, Jun-hyung let her invite her friends. He looked sad to lose his chance to be alone with her. It got worse when Nan-hee invited Taekwon. The crowd goes to the amusement park together. He went to get snacks and remembered Bokju's wish to share a drink with 2 straws. He brought one back. When Bokju leaned down to drink, he ducked too, and they faced each other. Bokju's heart beat fast. Jun-hyung smiled and asked if her heart was fluttering. She said he was crazy and that she was just startled, but her face showed she lied. Back at the dorm, Shiho couldn't sleep and reached for sleeping pills. She remembered a doctor told her to stop taking them and come for a checkup. She threw the pills in the trash. Nan-hee called Bokju to meet the group for fireworks. The show started before they found their friends. Jun-hyung took Bokju's hand and put it in his jacket. Bokju stared, stunned. He asked if her heart fluttered again. She yanked her hand away and called him annoying, then looked for their friends. Jun-hyung felt bad for pushing Bokju when she was uncomfortable. They joined the group. Everyone took pictures of the fireworks. Jun-hyung took a picture of Bokju's face when she wasn't looking. He slipped his hand into her coat pocket with her hand. Bokju's heart thumped, and she didn't pull her hand away. She looked up and saw Jun-hyung staring at her with love in his eyes. She couldn't look away. The next day, Bokju went to piano lessons. Her teacher said she was too aggressive. Bokju got frustrated and wondered why she couldn't play well. She complained that Jun-hyung hadn't called all day. Nan-hee said Seonok hadn't come back from vacation. She thought Seonok couldn't leave home, so Bokju decided to visit her. Dad said he was going to dialysis, but Daeho was out. Bokju found Seonok's parents' motel and saw Seonok practicing weightlifting. Seonok helped customers and told Bokju to wait. She said her parents wanted her to drop out because weightlifting didn't make money. She didn't know what to do. She said her high school nickname was Weightlifting Ghost because she never left the gym. She said she didn't love weightlifting at first but didn't want to go home. She envied Bokju for having talent and a supportive father. Bokju's dad looked sick during dialysis. Afterward, he sweated and his nose bled. He staggered and fainted in the hallway. Jun-hyung was busy buying a huge bouquet of red roses for Bokju's wish. He called her and she said she was on a bus. He found the bus stop and went to surprise her. Uncle Daeho was at the salon where Coach Choi worked. He was driving her crazy. After work, he took her arm and planned their evening. She pulled away, saying she couldn't date him. Coach Yoon called Coach Choi to meet. He said he was talking to the school about rehiring her. On the bus home, she got a call from the hospital and hurried to the station where Jun-hyung waited with roses. She was frantic to see her father. Jun-hyung calmed her and said doctors were helping. He led her to Dad's room. She ran inside, forgetting Jun-hyung. He opened the door for Daeho and looked sadly at the roses. The doctor said Dad wasn't critical, but needed a kidney transplant. Daeho stayed with Dad and told Bokju to go home. She didn't want to leave and went to get tissues for Dad. In the hallway, she found Jun-hyung gone, but a bag with the things she wanted. She went home and saw Jun-hyung had been there. He left a sign that the restaurant was closed for a few days. She went to Dad's room to get clothes and found insurance papers with her name. She cried, wondering why Dad spent money on insurance and not himself. She called Dad, who was awake. She apologized for worrying him and being rude. Dad said he was sorry for making her do weightlifting. The next morning, Coach Yoon came to the gym and found Bokju mopping the floor. She smiled and said she was back for winter training. He was happy to see her. The team came to practice and was happy to see Bokju. Shiho wasn't doing well in practice and was sleepy. Her coach warned her that if she kept making mistakes, she might not go to the next competition. Jae thought about Dr. Go and how she asked if he ever thought about her romantically. Hwan-hee called to apologize for Sang-gu's behavior and said she never properly apologized to Jae. He accepted and wished her well. That night, Shiho took out sleeping pills and started to take one. Bokju called Dad to say she was going back to weightlifting. Dad yelled that she always did the opposite, but smiled when he hung up. Bokju sat in the empty gym, thinking about when she left. This time, she remembered why she loved weightlifting. She felt happy and full of energy. She called Jun-hyung and asked him to meet. He ran to see her. Before she left, she put her hair up with her red bow clip. It was snowing when Jun-hyung found her. The first thing he asked was about her father. She said he was okay and thanked him for helping her get to the hospital. She told him she came back to school, and he was thrilled. She said he was the first thing she thought of when she got back. Junhyung was quiet. Kim Bokju walked back to her dorm room after telling Junhyung how she felt about him. She was smiling and giggling happily. Junhyung was feeling the same way. As soon as he got to his room, he sent her a text. They sent messages back and forth, telling each other to go to sleep. In the morning, Junhyung sent Bokju a message to meet him. Bokju got dressed up, wearing makeup and her red bow hairpin. On her way out, she saw Shiho still in bed. She shook off her worry and went to meet Junhyung. Junhyung landed a coin in the wishing fountain's stone cup as Bokju arrived. He told her to make a wish and kissed her cheek while her eyes were closed. Bokju pretended to be annoyed. Junhyung said she kissed him first yesterday and described their kisses loudly. Bokju flailed at him. Junhyung noticed her red hairpin and frowned. He recognized it as the one she wore when she liked Jae-yi. He got jealous and yelled at her to never wear it again. He called it ugly and demanded she take it off. Back in their room, Shiho woke up feeling sick. She knocked her phone to the floor and couldn't reach it. Junhyung took Bokju to buy a new hairpin that didn't remind him of Jae-yi. He admitted being jealous because he saw Bokju suffer when she liked Jae-yi. Bokju said she wasn't the jealous type, so he shouldn't expect it. They looked at pins. Bokju frowned when Junhyung picked one with a piglet and called it Bokju. He said no to bows. They chose a cute strawberry pin. Bokju got back to her dorm and found Shiho passed out on the floor near her sleeping pills. She screamed for help. Shiho was rushed to the hospital. Junhyung heard from Taekwon that Shiho tried to take too many pills. He rushed to the hospital and found Shiho unconscious in the emergency room. Junhyung moved aside when Shiho's mother and sister arrived. He watched as Shiho opened her eyes. He quietly left. Bokju met him and asked about Shiho. She was glad Shiho was okay and hadn't tried to kill herself. Later, Junhyung saw Shiho tried to call him while he and Bokju looked at hairpins. He felt bad for missing her call. Coach Yoon went drinking with the university dean. The dean promised to give Coach Choi her job back. Coach Yoon made the dean pinky swear and paid for his cab. Junhyung visited Shiho in the hospital. She looked better. They talked outside. Junhyung apologized for not answering her call. She said she'd be released soon and would need therapy. Junhyung recommended his therapist, and she agreed. Junhyung told Bokju he was at the hospital. She said she was going to visit Shiho. He told her to come when she could. The dean told Coach Yoon he wouldn't rehire Coach Choi. Coach Yoon argued she knew the students best and threatened to quit. Bokju arrived at the hospital and saw Junhyung with Shiho. Shiho was happy to see Bokju. Bokju gave her flowers, but Junhyung took them away because Shiho was allergic. Shiho said she was tired. Bokju offered to adjust her bed, but Junhyung did it. They left together. Junhyung noticed Bokju was quiet. She snapped at him for talking too much. He joked she was hungry and took her to get fish cakes. Junhyung got a call from Shiho about his therapist. He talked away from Bokju. She glared and ate quickly. When he finished, he called her my pig, but quickly said, Chubs, which made Bokju angry. She left, and he paid for her fish cakes. He didn't understand why she was mad. He kept pestering her until she yanked her hand away and cut his finger. He whined and asked why she was angry. She was mad because he wouldn't leave her alone. She went to practice, leaving Junhyung confused and angry. At the gym, the mood was low. The students worried about Coach Yoon quitting. They started to leave, but Woon-ki stopped them. He said it was his fault because Coach Choi used team money to pay his settlement. He apologized for not speaking up. Bokju felt better because she believed Coach Choi. She asked what they could do to keep their coaches. The team planned a hunger strike. They stood outside the university office with signs. Bokju soon regretted being outside in the cold. Everyone got hungry at the same time. Woon-ki told them to stop talking about food. The dean saw the protest but thought they'd give up soon. Junhyung asked Jae-yi how his dating was. Junhyung teased Jae-yi about his poor dating sense. Junhyung passed Bokju's protest and asked what she was doing. She refused to talk. He pulled her aside and worried she'd freeze. She told him to mind his own business. He asked if she'd be like this when he was only worried. She said nothing and went back to friends. He told her to do what she wanted. Jae-yi waited for Dr. Go and asked if she ignored his calls. She said yes and apologized for being emotional. He said he thought about what she said. He said she was always there for him, but he took her for granted. He asked her to date him. She said love isn't charity and said no. Junhyung worried about Bokju in the cold. She wouldn't say why she was mad. It started to snow. The protesters took a break. Bokju massaged her cold feet. Junhyung appeared and put warming packs on her feet. He gave her his coat and scarf and wrapped her up. He asked her to take care of herself. The weightlifting team came back and saw Junhyung. They noticed he and Bokju were close. Junhyung went back to the dorm. Bokju told the team he was just a worried friend. One weightlifter collapsed, and the team took him to the doctor. Only Bokju, Nanhee, and Woonki stayed at the protest. Nanhee broke first. Bokju got a nosebleed. Woonki said the protest was over. Bokju didn't want to give up. Seonok ran to join them. She said she ran away from home while her mother was out. Nanhee cried loudly. The three friends hugged. Other weightlifters came back with news. The new coach had no weightlifting experience and got the job because he was friends with the dean. This made the team stronger. They marched in the streets, chanting against corruption. Coach Yoon got a call and saw the protest. He stopped them and asked why they were there. They said they couldn't watch their department be disrespected. Coach Yoon worried they'd be blacklisted and lay down in the street to protest their protest. The dean called Coach Yoon. His mood changed. He told the team Coach Choi would be rehired with a salary cut to repay the money she took. Junhyung came by to see the team celebrating. He smiled at Bokju's happy face and sighed at the heating pads he bought. Coach Choi was told. The team had a party at Bok Chicken. Coach Yoon toasted the team's determination and called Coach Choi to speak. She thanked everyone humbly. The students wanted to do a love shot, linking arms. Coach Choi was nervous but agreed. Uncle Daeho interrupted, threw his arm around Coach Choi, and said they were dating. She looked embarrassed and took him outside. Daeho wanted her to call him by his name, not Bokju's uncle. She said she was drunk when she said she'd date him, but apologized and begged him to hit her. Daeho said she had feelings for Coach Yoon. She denied it, and Daeho said he wasn't giving up. Junhyung called Bokju many times, worried she was sick from the cold. She was fine, but ignored him. The girls went back to the dorm. Bokju called Junhyung. He was nervous waiting for her call. He fussed at her for ignoring him and asked if she was okay. She said she wanted to meet and had something to give him. He was very happy. They met in the lobby. Bokju tossed his coat and scarf at him. He was disappointed but sat down and asked why she was mad. She said she was jealous of how he took care of Shiho. Junhyung said Bokju had a past too. He hugged her again in the street. They didn't notice Bokju's dad riding past and realizing they must be dating. Kim Bokju's dad stopped his scooter near the place where Bokju and Junhyung were quietly hugging each other. Luckily, he didn't see their faces. He just grumbled, "Kids these days, always dating instead of training," and rode away. A little further down the road, Bokju and Junhyung were still holding hands and being close. They pulled up their hoods and kissed, hiding their faces. Nanhee and Seonok saw them but didn't say anything. Since their faces were covered, Bokju and Junhyung's secret was safe. Junhyung went to see his therapist. The therapist asked him what had been keeping him so busy lately. He noticed Junhyung looked much better these days. Junhyung said he no longer heard the ringing in his ears. The therapist guessed he was dating, and Junhyung's surprised face gave him away. Junhyung and Taekwon decided to join the girls for lunch. Junhyung quickly elbowed Taekwon when he almost sat next to Bokju. If Taekwon didn't stop looking at Bokju with hearts in his eyes, their secret wouldn't last long. Junhyung even grabbed Bokju's hand under the table. Nanhee dropped her utensil and bent down to pick it up. She almost saw their hands holding. Bokju pulled her hand away so hard that Junhyung fell to the floor. He was still whining when they met at the wishing fountain later. Junhyung didn't understand why Bokju wanted to hide their relationship. She told him she wasn't ashamed of him. She explained that she promised her friends she wouldn't look at men after the disaster with Jae-yi. She acted cute to convince him to let her choose the right time to tell her friends. Jae-yi visited Dr. Go in her office to invite her to a violin concert they had seen before. She admitted she only pretended to like classical music because he did. He changed plans and asked her to dinner. He was happy when she said she liked steak. He nervously asked if he could take her to do something she liked this weekend. She told him to stop trying so hard. He asked if trying hard could be a new start. She said no, because he couldn't try to make himself have feelings after 10 years. Bokju was fascinated by the homemade face pack Nanhee was using. She let them put one on her. Shiho came in and smiled at their happy chatter. The face pack didn't agree with Bokju. The next morning, she had a big zit on her nose. Seonok said it wasn't so bad because Bokju didn't have a guy to impress. Bokju wore a face mask to practice to cover the zit. When she ran into Jun Hyung on the jogging track, she pretended to have a bad cough. He was worried, but she waved him away. Later, she coughed on the phone to make him worry. He had his aunt prepare medicine for her. She made him pay with a kiss. He called Bokju to come get it, but she pretended to be scared she'd make him sick. Jun Hyung, being a caring friend, sneaked into Bokju's room to give her the medicine. He climbed over her railing just as she was eating a bun. He nearly fell when he saw her big zit. He leaned in to look closer and fussed at her for worrying him over a pimple. She apologized shyly. Jun Hyung thought she was cute being insecure. He was glad she had a pimple because it got him into her room. He tried to look in her closet, but Bokju blocked him. He playfully goose-stepped her sideways until they both fell on the bed. They froze when he fell on top of her. He leaned in for a kiss. Bokju puckered her lips, and Jun Hyung grinned before kissing her. Suddenly, Nan Hee's voice called out. Bokju threw Jun Hyung off her onto the floor. He tried to crawl under the bed but didn't fit. He hid under the blanket. Bokju got her friends to sit on the bed facing away from Jun Hyung. He gave up trying to hide and went to the closet. Bokju distracted Nan Hee and Seonok while he closed the closet door behind him. Just as they thought they were safe, Shiho came home and went to the closet. She saw Jun Hyung and begged her not to tell. She laughed and told Nan Hee and Seonok to leave, saying she was too tired. Alone, Jun Hyung came out. The three went to the roof for a beer. Jun Hyung looked embarrassed sitting between his ex-girlfriend and current girlfriend. But the ladies were fine. They talked about watching their weight in different ways. Bokju offered to come to Shiho's competition with Jun Hyung. Shiho left, guessing they wanted to be alone. Jun Hyung sighed and asked how long they had to pretend they weren't dating. Bokju said until the new semester. After training, Jun Hyung texted Bokju he'd call soon, but was dragged out by Taekwon for an emergency. The emergency was a surprise double date with two girls from their last group date, but the girls refused to meet unless Jun Hyung came. Jun Hyung didn't want to go, knowing Bokju would be angry. He sat with the girls looking sad. Bokju was annoyed he hadn't called. Bokju's face darkened. She dragged Nan Hee and Seonok to the coffee shop. She saw Jun Hyung with the girls. She sat nearby, glaring at him. He didn't see her because he was looking at his shoes. Bokju sent Jun Hyung a text. You die. I'll kill you. Finish in 5 minutes. Jun Hyung was shocked and told Taekwon they had to leave. One girl tried to touch Jun Hyung's shoulders. He jumped. She reached again. Bokju stood up and told her to remove her hand. The girl asked who she was. Bokju shouted, I'm the girlfriend. Everyone stared. Later, Jun Hyung and Bokju sat with Taekwon, Nan Hee, and Seonok. They asked when the two started dating and if they were dating at the amusement park. Jun Hyung said he liked Bokju then, but they weren't dating. Bokju said they started dating when she came back to school. The friends asked why they hadn't told them. Bokju said she didn't want them to think she was crazy for liking someone so soon after Jae. Late that night, Jae got texts from Dr. Go saying she was going to work at her father's clinic. He rushed to her apartment, but she was gone and didn't answer. The next morning, Shiho prepared for her competition. She told Bokju she was very nervous. Bokju took her to the wishing fountain and told her to make a wish. Shiho wished not to win, but to perform without regrets. Daeho brought breakfast to Coach Yoon, who wanted ketchup. Daeho went to buy more. Coach Choi came by and heard Coach Yoon tell her to leave. She said she didn't care what people thought and told him she liked him. Coach Yoon was shocked and asked why. She said she just did. He asked if he liked her. He didn't answer. Embarrassed, Coach Choi apologized and promised not to mention it again. Coach Yoon tried to leave but suddenly had pain. Daeho heard and left quietly. He left ketchup on the door and walked away. Jun Hyung was happy they didn't have to hide their relationship. He held Bokju's hand as they went to Shiho's competition. Bokju sighed, worried about rumors that Jun Hyung was dating a weightlifter. Shiho's coach told her it was her last competition, but just the start for the coach. Bokju and Jun Hyung watched from the stands. Shiho did well in her ball routine but stepped out of bounds. The coach seemed confident the scores would be good. The announcers wondered if the mistake was even counted. Shiho heard other athletes complain that those with coach support got better scores. Shiho did her ribbon routine perfectly. She threw the ribbon high and finished. Bokju told Jun Hyung she was impressed. Jun Hyung joked he almost regretted breaking up with her. Bokju squeezed his hand. At the pharmacy, Jun Hyung's aunt and uncle were closing up. A woman came in, and they froze. It was Jun Hyung's mother. She apologized for not contacting them and said she had been in Canada. She said she had something to ask. The next day, Bokju was stopped by Junhyung's mother, who asked where the swimming building was. Bokju showed her, not knowing who she was. Junhyung was outside. Bokju called his name. He saw her, but also saw his mother. Junhyung stood frozen, stunned to see his mother for the first time in over 10 years. Tears filled his eyes as she stepped closer. Junhyung and his mother sat together at a coffee shop. Junhyung barely looked at her. When she asked if he was very close to Bokju, he gave a short, yes. She asked about his swimming, and he started crying again. She gave him a pair of sneakers, unsure if they would fit. She said she had been thinking about him a lot, wondering if he had grown tall and how his face might have changed. She apologized for not coming to see him sooner. Later, they had dinner with Junhyung's aunt, uncle, and Jae-yi. Junhyung choked on a piece of fish his mother put on his spoon. He asked Mom for a glass of water, meaning his aunt, but his mother stood as well, creating an uncomfortable moment. He walked her out to catch a cab. She took his hand, and he finally looked at her. Before she left, she asked if he wanted to come to her hotel the next day so she could cook for him. He agreed and got her phone number. The next day, Junhyung went to school and saw Bokju. He hugged her tightly from behind. She noticed he seemed happier than before. He told her about meeting his mother and their plans for dinner. He said he had held his mother's hand, and Bokju joked that she wouldn't get jealous this time. She admitted she was a little jealous because she wished she had a mother who could visit her too. Junhyung teared up and said she had a great dad and uncle, and of course him. He hugged her again. That evening, Junhyung prepared to go to his mother's hotel for dinner. He tried on the sneakers she had given him. They were a bit small, but he wore them anyway, determined to make them fit. At home, Junhyung found his aunt, uncle, and Jae-yi talking about money. He overheard them discussing that child needing surgery and plans to sell land to raise money. Though they spoke about a sick child, Junhyung only heard that his mother had come for money. He stepped in and asked if it was true. Tears streamed down his face as he told them she should be grateful for all the years they had cared for him. He was distraught and angry when his aunt tried to explain. He shouted that it didn't matter and asked how someone who hadn't contacted them for 10 years could do this. His aunt realized he knew she had been sending the postcards and gifts, not his mother. He confirmed he had known for a long time. He was angry she hadn't told him and made him pretend. He said he was ashamed because he knew she was lying for his sake. The aunt slapped him. Junhyung ran out, furious. Meanwhile, at the weightlifting gym, Coach Yoon yelled at Bokju in front of the team. He accused her of not training hard enough and told her to quit and go to Taerung. He laughed and said she had been invited to train there. There would be an interview the next day, and she was to report to Taerung that weekend. Bokju was shocked, but the team cheered. Nanhee and Seonok were thrilled for Bokju's good luck. She told them her dad was happy too, since being a national weightlifter was his dream. They were sad she would be going away. Nanhee asked what she planned to do about Junhyung. Bokju tried to call him, but he didn't answer. Shiho noticed her worry and said that was what dating was like, worrying when you couldn't reach someone and wondering if feelings had changed. Junhyung's aunt was worried and felt guilty that he had known about the postcards and gifts for years. His uncle said Junhyung would be fine. His mother called to ask if something happened since he hadn't come to dinner. Nanhee and Seonok got ready for Bokju's interview. Taekwon asked if Bokju was with Junhyung all night since he hadn't returned to the dorm. They worried something happened. Bokju called Jae-yi, who told her about the family fight and how Junhyung learned his mother only came for money. Jae-yi said he wasn't surprised Junhyung ran off. He said Junhyung had to grow up too fast but was very tender-hearted. When Bokju's interview started, the team watched the door and jumped into action when it opened. It was Coach Choi, who told them to act natural. Coach Yoon came in, and they did it again. Bokju's friends told her not to worry about Junhyung, but she couldn't help it. She called him and got voicemail, leaving a message asking him to stop worrying her. Junhyung ended up on the beach. When he woke, the 2 small shoes caused bleeding sores. Angry, he threw them away. The weightlifting team was awkward when interviewers came. Bokju was distracted, but told them about her slump and how she overcame it with help. She mentioned family, coaches, friends, and started to mention Junhyung. She thought of all the times he was there for her and finished the interview. She rushed out, determined to find Junhyung. He wasn't answering. She left an angry message saying she'd break up with him if he kept worrying her. She went to the river and beach but couldn't find him. Uncle Dae-ho stopped at a store for snacks but was short on cash. The delivery girl paid the difference. They drank together, and she said he was cute and recognized him from movies. She was very drunk and invited him to her place. He tried to refuse, but gave in. It was dark when Bok-ju got back to school. She found Jun-hyung floating face up in the pool, fully clothed. She screamed for him to come out, but he didn't move. She took off her coat and waded in, yelling worriedly. He finally looked up but seemed unaware. He whispered that his mother didn't come to see him, but to ask for money. He thought she had suffered like him. He said he was embarrassed toward himself and his aunt and uncle. Bok-ju hugged him as he cried on her shoulder, standing in the pool. Eventually, they got out and dried off. Jun-hyung listened to her angry messages and smiled, happy she cared. He liked when she dried his hair and objected when she called him a pretty baby. Bok-ju fussed softly, telling him how worried she was. He asked if she was really going to break up with him. She said it was a warning. He smiled and said she liked him a lot. She said he needed to apologize to his aunt and told him she heard how upset the aunt was from Jae-yi. Jun-hyung was reluctant, but Bok-ju told him the longer he waited, the worse it would be. She took him to the pharmacy to make sure he didn't chicken out. He went inside slowly, gave his aunt roasted chestnuts, and started peeling one. She gently stopped him and made tea. He hugged her from behind and apologized. When Jun-hyung's mother was about to leave on a flight, he surprised her by coming to see her off. He looked lighter and more accepting. She thanked him. He thanked her for giving birth to him and gave her the handkerchief he had kept since she left. He said he would be okay without it now. He asked if she had a picture of his sister. She showed him a photo and said her name was Amelia. He showed her a picture of Bok-ju. She recognized Bok-ju from school, and he told her she was his girlfriend. Bok-ju was settling into her new life as a national weightlifter. One evening, she called Jun-hyung to wish him goodnight. Jun-hyung sounded happy and told her he was improving his swimming times. He was eager to earn his own place at Taerong and join her. Bok-ju smiled and said she missed him, her friends, and especially her father's fried chicken. Jun-hyung promised to stop by Bok Chicken the next day to check on her dad for her. The next morning, Jun-hyung went to Bok Chicken as he promised. But when he arrived, he found a sign on the door saying the restaurant was temporarily closed for personal reasons. Concerned, he called Uncle Dae-ho and learned that Bok-ju's father was in the hospital undergoing tests to prepare for a kidney transplant. Jun-hyung immediately went to visit him. Bok-ju's father was surprised to see Jun-hyung and asked why he was going to such lengths if he and Bok-ju were only school friends. Jun-hyung smiled gently and reassured him. The father told Jun-hyung that his surgery was scheduled for the same day as Bok-ju's upcoming competition in China. He asked Jun-hyung not to tell Bok-ju about the surgery to avoid worrying her. Bok-ju's senior teammates asked to see a picture of her boyfriend. She showed them some photos on her phone. They gasped at how handsome Jun-hyung was. One girl joked that it was strange such a good-looking guy didn't answer her calls. They guessed the relationship would last only 2 months because many girls would be after him now that Bok-ju was gone. Later, while hanging out with Seon-ok and Taekwon, Nan-hee got a call from Bok-ju. Bok-ju complained that she called Jun-hyung, but he said he was training. Nan-hee told her that couldn't be true because Taekwon was with them. The girls confronted Taekwon, demanding to know where Jun-hyung really was. Taekwon said all Jun-hyung said was that he had somewhere to go. The girls suspected it had something to do with a woman. Taekwon insisted Jun-hyung would never cheat, but the girls vowed to find out the truth. Meanwhile, Uncle Dae-ho took Jun-hyung into the hospital hallway. He asked Jun-hyung to come back for a couple of hours the next day to spend time with his girlfriend, Kim Sol-gi, the sassy delivery girl. Jun-hyung agreed and headed home. On the way, Jun-hyung tried to return Bok-ju's call, but she didn't answer. Shiho found him and walked back to the dorms with him. He said he didn't want her to come along and tried to send her ahead. Shiho said she had been seeing a therapist and was interviewing for coaching jobs. She asked if he could see Bok-ju much, knowing it was hard to date someone at Taerong. Jun-hyung sighed and said he was starting to resent his country. The next day, after practice, Taekwon contacted Seon-ok and Nan-hee. The three trailed Jun-hyung to see where he was going. They followed him as he walked, trying to catch him with a girl. Jun-hyung felt like he was being watched and turned around, but failed to spot them. They managed to follow him all the way to the hospital without being noticed. They gathered outside the hospital room. Seon-ok recognized the name on the door. They peeked inside, but were caught by Jun-hyung. He glared at them angrily all the way back to school. He was especially upset with Taekwon for believing the girls thought he was cheating. The girls admitted they were just worried because Bokju was upset. Junhyung calmed down and made them promise to keep the secret about Bokju's dad. Finally, Bokju answered when Junhyung called again. Junhyung said he was busy for many reasons, but stopped when Bokju asked what kinds of reasons. Bokju asked if the truth was that he had time for her, but not the heart. Junhyung looked horrified at the idea. She was called away by her senior before he could answer. Junhyung complained to a picture of Bokju that hearing her voice made him miss her more. Bokju heard her back again during training. Her coach worried it wasn't healing well. She sent Bokju for treatment and told her to take the rest of the day off. Bokju gratefully accepted. Taekwon nervously called Seonok to ask her to a movie. She said she would call Nanhee but stopped when Taekwon said he only wanted to go with her. He spoke casually to show he was serious. As they walked to the theater, Taekwon tentatively took her hand. Seonok looked up at him with wide eyes. Nanhee came running toward them, and Seonok pushed Taekwon away. Cornered, Seonok invited Nanhee to the movie with them. After treatment, Bokju decided to visit home before seeing Junhyung. She called her father. Uncle Daeho said Dad was in the bathroom but jumped when Bokju said she'd be home soon. Nanhee sat between Seonok and Taekwon at the movie. Both looked unhappy their first date was ruined. When Nanhee nodded off, their hands met in the popcorn. They exchanged sad looks. At the restaurant, Dad panicked when he thought Bokju would see the closed sign. Daeho called Junhyung, who rushed to stop Bokju from seeing it. He pretended it was a coincidence he was there. He hugged her desperately when she tried to go inside. Soon, Bokju glared at him over a basket of fried chicken. She was suspicious of everything he said. Bokju finally blew up and asked if Junhyung had been flirting with other girls while she was gone. Junhyung said he didn't have a death wish. He looked guilty when he faked a stomachache to answer his phone. It was Daeho, telling him that he and Dad were on their way home and needed him to stall Bokju for 30 more minutes. Bokju was sure he was talking to a girl. She sneaked up on him while he was on the phone. Junhyung pushed her back to the table, swearing he wasn't talking to anyone she knew. He lied it was an old school friend, but she heard enough to know he was too respectful for a schoolmate. Bokju decided he was talking to a woman and demanded to see his phone. Bokju said he should show her if he had nothing to hide. Junhyung hollered she should trust him. She backed down, saying her training made her sensitive. Junhyung put his phone on the table and swore he hadn't looked at another woman. Bokju snatched his phone. Junhyung chased her around the restaurant as she tried to see his call history. She squawked about privacy. Bokju got fed up and left. Junhyung followed her out. Bokju was angry but admitted she hated feeling jealous and petty. She yelled she felt stupid for being excited to see him and stormed off. She walked home grumbling. She stopped when she got inside the restaurant. Her dad was wiping tables with a mask on. Daeho was fiddling with the fire extinguisher, looking strange. Nanhee and Seonok arrived after being called by Daeho. Dr. Go sat in her office, gloomy and staring at her phone. Her nurse knocked and said, "That person probably wasn't coming." Dr. Go said she wasn't waiting for anyone. She hid a smile when she heard Jae-yi's voice. She muttered she wasn't waiting for him. She said she already ate when he asked, but smiled when he invited her out. Jae-yi talked about other restaurants. Dr. Go suddenly left. Jae-yi caught up and asked what was wrong. She said she came to get over him but found herself waiting for him like before. Jae-yi hugged her and said Seoul was lonely without her. He asked her not to tell him not to come. She nervously asked what he meant. He asked, "By any chance, do you like messy?" Dr. Go smiled and stepped into his hug. Bokju spent the evening with Seonok and Nanhee. She kicked her phone when Junhyung called. Junhyung went to the restaurant, worried Bokju wouldn't answer. Bokju's dad scared him when he opened the door. They sat inside. Dad asked what Junhyung did to upset Bokju. Junhyung said it was a misunderstanding. Dad asked if he was a good swimmer and about his parents. Junhyung said he was raised by his aunt and uncle with lots of love. Dad scoffed at that. He asked what Junhyung liked about Bokju. Junhyung's eyes softened. He said she was warm and had a way of warming hearts since she was young. Dad said she got it from him. Junhyung agreed. Dad smiled, seeing Junhyung truly loved his daughter. Dad and Daeho sent Bokju back to Taerong. Once she left, they rushed Dad to the hospital. Bokju came back for something she forgot and saw the closed sign again. A friend of Dad's asked when his surgery was. Bokju called Daeho, who lied Dad was at the restaurant. She walked into Dad's hospital room. They told Bokju everything. They didn't want to worry her before her big competition. Bokju realized Junhyung was acting strange because he was helping her dad. She waited for Junhyung outside the swimming pavilion. When she saw him, she threw her arms up in relief. She apologized. Junhyung took Bokju back to Taerung. He looked into her eyes and said he had fallen for her. He promised never to look at other women. He said he would be there for Dad's surgery so she wouldn't worry. He told her to focus on training and bring home the gold medal. Bokju worked hard on training. Finally, the day of Bokju's competition in China arrived. She prepared mentally, telling herself she had many people loving and cheering for her. She said, "Kim Bokju, you can do it." At the same time, Junhyung and Daeho waited for news about Dad's surgery. They breathed a sigh of relief when it went well. They turned on a live broadcast of Bokju's competition. Her old Hanil weightlifting team also watched as Bokju stepped up to the barbell. She lifted the weight above her head and held it, grimacing as she struggled not to move. The bell rang, and she dropped the barbell. Her teammates jumped up screaming. Junhyung and Daeho bounced in their seats as Bokju raised her arms in triumph. Behind them, Dad opened his eyes and smiled a tiny, proud smile. When the team arrived back in Korea, the airport was full of reporters. Bokju looked for one special face. When she saw Junhyung, she left her team and ran to him. They hugged as if no one was watching. 2 years later, Junhyung walked with one of his Taeryung seniors, both wearing their national team jackets proudly. His senior reminded him he was late for his graduation. Junhyung yelped that Bokju would kill him. Bokju, Seonok, and Nan-hee gathered with their old weightlifting seniors, dressed in caps and gowns. Coach Yoon gave one of his awkward speeches. He and Coach Choi high-fived, showing off their couple rings. Bokju looked in her locker for the last time. Then it was time for some graduation fun. The girls danced down the line of classmates wearing their training gear. Then they ran the line again while everything was pulled off them. After the ceremony, Bokju and Junhyung formally introduced their families. They had already been sending each other fried chicken and vitamins through the kids for a while. Jae-yi teased that it felt like an in-law meeting. Bokju congratulated him and Dr. Go on setting a wedding date. After photos with friends, Bokju and Junhyung took one last walk on campus. They went to the Toad Fountain and the track, remembering all the times they spent there. They made a bet about who would win the most medals at the Tokyo Olympics. Junhyung looked serious and asked, "If I win a gold medal, should we get married?" Bokju said cheekily she would think about it and told him to train hard if he wanted to win that medal. She ran to the middle of the field and he followed, saying she wouldn't marry him if he didn't. If you enjoyed this recap, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and see you next time.